Hi, this is Candace Story with listingadvantage.io, and today we're going to talk about AI brain clones. And growing up, my grandmother had a saying, two heads are better than one, even if one is a cabbage head. And that always made me laugh. And I'd say, Grandma, who's the cabbage head? Well, I'm just here to tell you that sometimes your AI brain clone is going to be smarter than you, and you might be the cabbage head. So if you can't handle that, don't continue. But if you want to know how to use your AI brain clone, how to build it so that it's working for you 24/7. We'll stay put because we're going to get into that. And I have the prompts for you today and everything. So let's go ahead and share my screen. All right, so really what this is about working smarter with AI. And what if you could clone the best version of yourself, your knowledge, your voice, your process, and have it working for you 24/7? Well, that's exactly what an AI brain clone does. And what that means is that you might be sleeping, you might be out with friends or family, you might be doing self-care activities, whatever that looks like, your AI clone is still working for you. And that's a beautiful thing. We didn't have that years ago, and it's going to become everything we use now, just like we use the internet. So let's get started. What is an AI brain clone? Well, it's everything you know, your market, your clients, your process, your writing style, everything that lives inside your head. Every email, every lead response, and listing prep pulls from that mental library. An AI brain clone is what happens when you feed that library, everything that's up here, into an AI tool like ChatGPT or Claude. So it stops giving you generic answers and starts giving you your answers. And the difference between generic AI, well, it writes like a stranger. It has no idea what your market is like. It might not be right. You have to double check it a lot. It might not be compliant, and you have to check that as well. Generic scripts and templates, no personality, and it has to be corrected constantly. It's a lot of work sometimes to go in there when you see it write a listing description and it doesn't sound anything like how you'd write it. So your brain clone writes in your voice. It knows your neighborhood. It knows them cold. It uses your proven scripts and it matches your brain and it gets it right the first time. That's a time saver. The difference is night and day. Building this clone, well, I'm going to say it can take less than an afternoon, but I know people that dive in, give it their whole childhood, their background, and that can take a little bit more than an afternoon. That can take a day or a couple of days. I did mine over a weekend, but it is comprehensive now. And I loaded mine both into ChatGPT and Claude because I use both for writing and real estate. What to put in your brain clone? Well, here's where most agents go wrong. They open ChatGPT, type a question, get a mediocre answer, and give up. The problem isn't AI. The problem is they never told it who they are. It doesn't have context. So building a great brain clone is all about what you feed it. And there are six essential categories. And I'm just going to stop here and say that there are people out there charging buku bucks to teach you how to do this. And I have been in some of those, paying those buku bucks, but it's not that difficult to do. And so what I want to share with you here are the six essential categories. So you want to have a professional identity. You want your name, your brokerage, your years of experience, target market, specialties, your unique value proposition, and certifications. You want to show it your communication style. So 3 to 5 emails that you're proud of, maybe Facebook posts where you really dove in and gave it some heart. Describe your tone, formal or casual, or warm or direct. You may be very, very detailed. You may be very direct in your presentation, or you may be very warm and fuzzy. You just need to let AI know that so that it can communicate in that manner that sounds like you. Market knowledge, current conditions, neighborhood breakdowns, comps, absorption rates, and common objectives. I love the common objectives, and I also teach that the objectives are very specific to your niche. So, for instance, if you've niched down to seniors, their objections or their fears and their concerns are going to be very different to a first-time home buyer or a luxury home buyer. So it's really important to dial into your niche and learn what their specific objections are and put that into your AI brain clone. Scripts and templates. Your listing presentation can go in here, your buyer consultation, your follow-up sequences, objection handles, FSBO and expired scripts if you're working that market. Client personas, you want your client avatar, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but your ideal buyer, seller, and niche clients, their motivations, fears, and most common questions. And the business processes step by step from first contract to close, your vendor list, your transaction checklist, and your marketing plan. And if you don't have these already built out, well, you can message me from or email me from the email that's in the description of the YouTube channel, and we can talk about how to get you some scripts. And there are plenty of them out there. All right, category 1 and 2, your identity and voice. So your professional identity, of course, you want your full name, brokerage, years of experience, target client types, geographic specialties, your unique value proposition, any certifications that you have, or any licensing, or any special knowledge that you have that gives you a differentiating aspect to your business. Your voice and style, I think you can go way deeper than 3 to 5 emails. Like I said, Facebook posts, letters that you've written, anything that you've done that really shows how you communicate. Social captions, described phrases that you use a lot, and ones you never want to see. And I just want to say something here. We're talking about what to include in your brain clone. Let's talk about what not to include. So you don't want to include, for instance, your passwords to your bank, your passwords to your email, your passwords in general, you don't want to include, because AI, we still don't know how much of it is easily accessible. You can set settings in ChatGPT and Claude that limit what people can see of your creation. It's guised as help us improve how we function in this AI, but you can click that off, which I recommend that you do, but just don't give it anything that you wouldn't put on social media, for instance. And then an example prompt you could use is, my name is, I'm a real estate agent with in city, specializing in and working primarily with years of experience. And my unique approach is I create a serenity transaction for my clients, or I create a luxury experience for every single client, no matter what the price point, whatever that looks like for you. And here are 3 emails that I've written to my clients: study my writing style, tone, vocabulary, sentence length, how I open and close, and always write in this style going forward. Now, you can do some fun things like, um, um, not for your brain clone, but later on, if you're playing around with, say, social media posts, and you can say, write it like Alex Hormozy, or write it in the tone of Ryan Serhant, and see what it comes up with. That's kind of a fun thing to do later on after you've got your brain clone built. And then category 3 and 4, your market knowledge and scripts. You want to know your buyer versus seller market conditions. This can change, so you may have to update this periodically. Average days on market, price per square foot, neighborhood by neighborhood breakdowns, why one home on this side of the street sells for $20,000 more than asking in 4 days, and why this home on this side of the street is sitting for months and months and has to lower price and have price adjustments. Those are the kind of things that you want to put in here. Absorption rate, that's days on market, original price to sales price, those kind of details. And then common objections and how you handle them. And your proven scripts and templates, your listing presentation outline and talking points, your buyer consultation framework. You might put how you talk about the buyer brokerage agreement, follow-up sequences for new leads, objection handlers. I understand that. That makes great sense. I want to think about it, whatever their objections are. Expireds and FSBO outreach scripts, price reduction, conversion scripts, open house follow-up templates. Give it a lot of information so that it can really give you good output. It's the little bit of work at the beginning to get ease of process from then on. And a pro tip, update your market data monthly. Stale data is bad advice, so set a calendar reminder. Category 5 and 6, client personas and processes. Client personas, describe your ideal client. We're going to have this in the next video, your client avatar, and how to create a really great client avatar. You want their age, their life, their stage, their fears, ideal seller, the timeline, equity, emotions, and niche clients. You might have veterans, investors, relocating families. Include their most common questions. And then business processes, your step-by-step buyer and listing processes, your what happens next, what happens before, what happens next, including on our listing presentation, I have an agenda that I'm going to give you. I love the agenda because that helps keep people on track, but you can include that in here that you have an agenda for the listing presentation, and then what happens after they sign the listing agreement, what happens in the first week, the second week, the third week, and so on. Preferred vendors, you can include your lenders, your inspectors, your title company, your stagers, your transaction management checklist, and how you handle inspection issues or low appraisals. That's important as well. 5 ways your brain clone pays off. So massive time savings. Agents spend 2 to 3 hours a day writing. Your clone cuts that in half. A property description in 60 seconds, a week of social content in one sitting. You can just load your photos, your professional photos in and say, write a listing description for this home at this address at this price point. Identify what's missing. Ask your clone to review your process and flag gaps, follow-up sequences that go silent, missing objection handlers, or steps with no contingency plan. I love this. Your clone's going to make you feel really good. It's going to tell you what your strengths are and how good you are at certain things. But if you don't ask those questions about what am I missing, what are my weaknesses, and how can I improve, you're missing a whole big section of what AI, your brain clone, can do for you. And it's going to be honest with you, and it's going to be holding up a mirror to you and saying, based on what you've told me, here's what I've identified as your key weaknesses, and here's how you can improve them. Or in your social media, you're missing a hook, or you're missing a call to action, or you're not animated enough. Whatever that looks like, it's going to tell you. And then consistent client experience. Every client gets your best self because of your brain clone. It's not a day when you're too tired to write well. Your brain clone doesn't get tired. It doesn't have bad days. And if every email reflects your voice and expertise, even the ones sent at 9 p.m. And you never start from scratch. Every listing, every lead, every market update, you always have a strong first draft. You're editing and personalizing, not creating from zero. Prep for any conversation, use it as a real-time practice partner. My seller thinks their home is worth 15% more than the comps. Help me prepare for that conversation. Sometimes I will vent to my AI brain clone, and I will say what I really think and what I'm feeling. And I'll say, help me to have X outcome using a very professional and warm and consistent voice. And it will give me the talking points that I need to stay focused on so I can back off my emotion and stay the eye of the storm when I'm communicating. And that's invaluable because I know that some of you who have been in business for a while have had interactions with agents that aren't at their best, and they may bring emotion into it. And that's not how we do business. We stay professional. So your AI brain clone can help you do that. The number one mistake that kills your brain clone. Agents build their brain clone once and never update it. Just like you grow and change, your brain clone needs to do that with you. Your market changes, your scripts evolve, you find language that converts better, you start working a new niche. If your AI doesn't know any of that, you're still getting last year's answers. So treat your brain clone like a live document. Every great script you find, feed it in. Every quarter, refresh your market data. Every time your process shifts, update it. And keep it alive. Feed in every script that converts, not just yours. You can feed in scripts from other agents that you see highly converting. Update market data quarterly. Add new niches as you grow. Refine after every missed response. It can help you really identify when you've missed something or a client didn't convert the way you thought they would. It can help you identify the reasons why that happened, and you can then improve on them. You don't have to sit and mull it over for hours and hours in the endless circle that our brains sometimes get in. The agents who win with AI aren't the ones who set it up perfectly on day one. They're the ones who keep feeding it. So, yeah, you don't have to, if you can't devote a weekend and you can just do a little bit at a time, do a little bit at a time. You can keep opening that particular chat and adding to it. So that's the beauty of this as well. Your action plan this week: identify, train your voice, test and refine. Every time it misses the mark, that's information. Correct it. And what's missing? Within a few sections, you'll have an AI that feels like it actually knows you because it does. For instance, I send out emails every day, and sometimes ChatGPT would give me emails that just felt very formulaic. They were always had the same, they had a sentence about what wasn't happening, and then three things. And I was just bored reading them. So I went to my Claude AI and I got better responses for those emails. I got more interesting emails and more, I think, emails with more value in them. So but I had to go back to ChatGPT and say, I don't like this formulaic. Can you not make them more unique and each one unique from the other one, even if there is a theme? So I had to add in that prompt to make it more what I want. And I did start getting better responses from ChatGPT, just so you know. And then use this prompt. This is the prompt to use your brain clone. You can just copy and paste this directly into ChatGPT or Claude. This is a progressive prompt. So what's going to happen is it's going to ask you a question, and it's going to ask you clarifying questions until it feels like you have a good answer for that first question. And then it's going to ask the second question. And it's going to feel like it goes on and on and on. But guess what? You can just stop at any time and come back to it. So it just says, I need you to help me build a comprehensive brain document that asks 1 to 2 follow-up questions to go deeper, more if needed. Continue this process across multiple areas: business philosophy, communication style, key frameworks, origin stories, core beliefs, content preferences, audience understanding, et cetera, until you have enough depth to create a detailed artifact. Once we've covered sufficient ground, compile everything into a structured document that an LLM can use to write content that truly sounds like me and represents my thinking. And start, an LLM is large language model. That's what AI is, just so you know. And so start with your first question. Pro tip: run this conversation once, let AI ask all its questions, and save the final document as your permanent brain clone file. Paste it at the start of any new AI conversation to instantly restore your context. Or you can just, once you've created it, I'll say, write in my AI brain clone voice um, this particular thing that I'm trying to accomplish, and it will go back and it has that brain clone. So it's ready to work. What you've learned today is what an AI brain clone is, why it beats generic AI, the 6 categories of content that make it powerful, the 5 biggest ways that will save you time to improve your business, the #1 mistake to avoid, and how to keep your clone sharp, and a starter prompt to begin building today. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, just go ahead and subscribe. There'll be more coming. Next up is your client avatar and how to really dial down deep so that you understand who it is that you're marketing to. All right, take care, and I'll see you next week.